There's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this podcast on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Hello and welcome to Cancelled. I am Claire Stevens and this is a silly podcast. It's not about actually cancelling anyone. We do not have the authority or the means to do that. It's about discussing the vibe, telling a story, and coming up with punishments that fit the crimes. Not the legal ones, but the social ones. Who are you?
I'm Jessie Stevens, and I must say, I've been having a pretty bad day, but then I had a job to do, and it was to think about the person who this show is about. I just had to think about them with a cup of coffee at 2 o'clock. That was what I put aside in my diary, and it cheered me up. It really cheered me up. It put a smile on my face. I felt joy, and I feel as though we are about to have a lot of fun.
We are. Spoiler alert.
Fun ahead. Warning, warning. If you're
Trigger
allergic
warning,
to fun, call 1-800-FUN-POLICE.
Jesse, today we are talking about Jared Leto.
Thanks so much for coming back on the show.
So happy to be here. Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah.
I just realized I forgot to wear a shirt.
Jared Leto is a 50-year-old actor and musician. And firstly, we just need to acknowledge that the man has always looked 25.
That is not a 50-year-old man. How old's our dad? 60-something.
It's absurd. It's actually really upsetting. It's upsetting for many reasons. One is that depending on how old you are, you were probably introduced to him in all different ways. And for me, he is Jordan Catalano from My So-Called Life.
Can we? Go somewhere.
So for him to be 50, what does that mean for me?
It makes
Do
you
you know what I
31.
mean?
Yeah. It makes you an age that's not 18.
And that's horrifying. For others, he's the lead singer of 30 Seconds to Mars, which is sort of like an emo band.
Okay, quick comment.
Yeah.
I thought that 30 Seconds to Mars, similar to Simple Plan and relatedly Panic at the Disco, were bands that existed for 5 minutes in 2005. And then they all left their jobs and joined a bank or something. Like, I didn't know that 30 Seconds to Mars still existed and was still a thing that produced music.
Very much still a thing. And I think you've actually got your timeline off because they were big in, say, 2011, 2015.
I don't think it was cool to like 30 Seconds to Mars at school. You dressed like an emo and you kind of went to their concert and like posted pictures of you with your black side fringe on Tumblr. That was the vibe.
He wore a lot of eyeliner.
Yeah.
We need that on the record. He's also known for the movie Requiem for a Dream.
Look, I don't know what else to do. Okay, this is our last chance to get back on track. We won't have to scuffle and make that freezing scene every day.
Which was a real mood when we were growing up. Everybody was like, oh my God, have you seen that movie? It's
Fantastic
so cool.
film.
Whereas
Doesn't make sense. Fantastic art house film that everyone pretends to understand.
I remember trying to watch it and I got bored and watched Anchorman instead. He was also in Fight Club, Dallas Buyers Club, Suicide Squad, and so on. Jesse, fun fact, he's also known as Bartholomew Cubbins and Angercock Panic Pack.
What?
They are pseudonyms that he's used when he's directed music videos or short films. He's directed a bunch of the 30 Seconds to Mars video clips, but he'd attribute it to Bartholomew Cubbins. And I've just got in my notes here, like, just use your real name, IDK. Jesse, before we really get started into the crimes that we're going to be talking about, I do need to reserve a moment for Jared Leto's face. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you some photos and we're just going to discuss them. So you haven't seen these, like you may have, but not in this format.
Oh, this is My So-Called Life, Jared Leto.
Describe to me what you're seeing.
Thick brown hair, beautiful blue eyes, beautiful little mischievous smile. He looks like a young Zac Efron.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's wild.
Very 90s to have that hair. I think the Olsen twins had that hair too. It's like shoulder-length layered bangs with a black choker. I'm going down. That's when he cut his hair. It's very Leonardo DiCaprio Titanic in this picture. He has beautiful eyes. He really does. Yeah, being hot. Oh,
What do you think as he's aged? What do you think?
he's gone full Messiah. And I don't like it.
Oh,
I don't like the Messiah
really?
look. Nah, I'm not into it. It just screams, I died on the cross for you. And it's not the energy I want coming into my life.
Oh.
I don't like it.
Really? Okay, because I was going to say how he's evolved is that he now looks like a scared little girl and it's beautiful.
Yeah, he really doesn't age. He's like Paul Rudd. Like he just doesn't have any signs of life having occurred. Maybe that's because for white men, life doesn't occur to them.
I know.
Like, I know that's a generalisation, but the faces of Paul Rudd and Jared Leto say to me, life has been really easy.
Yeah, life has been kind. Are there controversies? Yes, but I don't pay them no mind.
I do not have worry lines. I do not have stress lines. You know how women get thinking/stress lines? Like, white men don't get them.
Jessie, in order to enter the vibe, here are a quick few tweets, because we do like to enter the vibe.
Yep.
Just what are people saying about Jared Leto? What's the sense right now? Firstly, Jared Leto's island cult is simply not discussed enough.
Okay.
Secondly, Jared Leto should method act as a good actor.
I like that.
Finally,
I like that a lot.
Every Jared Leto movie feels like it got shipped in from a parallel universe just so your worst cousin could enjoy it.
That's so true.
Okay.
And that person you hate on the internet who's like, I actually think Jared Leto was really good in Suicide Squad. Well, your opinion isn't valid.
I want to start with the time 30 Seconds to Mars turned into a cult. Firstly, I'd like it on the record that it is rather impressive that Jared Leto was like, am I in the top 0.0001% of actors? Yes. But can I also be a world-class musician? Also, yes. And that is the confidence of white men.
I always find that uncomfortable. I actually meant to tender that into the courtroom. You know what it's like when Gwyneth Paltrow sung She's Got Betty Davis Eyes. That's what it's like. Because you go, no, choose one. Choose one, and if you try and be both, you're being greedy. You can be an actor, or you can be a singer, or you can be Hugh Jackman. They are the three options. You don't get to be Jared Leto and be like, oh, I think I'll also be in a famous band. That just is annoying.
Okay, you know what I will say is that it does feel a lot like this. You know how most actors can sing and dance because they're always a triple threat because they've been to acting school.
Yeah.
And like the guy from Bridgerton who's really hot, I did see him doing a Broadway performance on TikTok the other night and I thought,
I mean, that's a fun surprise.
have fun.
Yeah.
But I think it is arrogant to be like, well, I can also sing, so I'll make a career out of that. We take it for granted you can sing.
You can't just have limitless careers.
It is greedy. I will agree with that. The band was formed in 1999 with Leto and his brother Shannon. They have sold over 15 million albums worldwide. And in December 2011, 30 Seconds to Mars entered the Guinness World Records for the most live shows during a single album cycle. So one thing I will say about Jared Leto, the man works hard. He's a hustler. In the early days of the band, Leto wouldn't let his status as a famous Hollywood actor be used in promo. That maybe explains why there is a bit of ambiguity about whether it is him and people are always surprised to find out it's him. However, I think we can't pretend that it's not related.
And we can't pretend it's not Jared Leto. It's like Brad Pitt being like, I'll host the Oscars, but I'm not going to mention I'm Brad Pitt. It's like, yeah, but everyone already knows. So it's not... Like, you're not tricking anyone because you are Jared Leto, no matter how many times you tell us you're Bartholomew Cat or whatever.
Cubbins.
Yeah, exactly. Or whatever you insist.
They've always done a lot in terms of involving fans. Like they held a summit in 2009 where fans provided percussion and backing vocals, and then they had fans submit close-up photos of their faces to make over 2,000 different album covers. They've always been quite active in involving their community. And then in 2015, they started hosting a sort of summer camp. In 2019, one of their festivals/trips raised a few eyebrows. They called it Mars Island, and it was very Fyre Festival-esque. Fans came to this island in Croatia and they were charged $999 for 2 nights of outdoor camping where you had to bring your own tent and supplies. Jessie, that's a lot of money.
This is very Fyre Festival, but at least they said bring your own tent. Fyre Festival actually forgot to do the BYO notification and had no food or a comm. So it's like at least they knew they didn't have anything for them except Jared Leto in a gown.
I'd pay that much to see Jared Leto's face, let's be real. The only way to sleep in a space that wasn't shared with strangers was to pay $6,500 for a VIP experience. It involved daytime outdoor activities like rock climbing and archery and 2 30 Seconds to Mars concerts, which the band called Church of Mars. Most of the people in the photos were wearing white, and Jared Leto himself was wearing an all-white ensemble and looked a lot like Jesus. And Jessie, I'm going to send you some photos of what this event looked like, and I just want you to answer a question, which is cult or no cult.
You know, I think in a real courtroom, you don't have to request access to the Google Doc. I think it's just publicly available for whoever needs it.
You don't know that. This is a really high-tech courtroom. Okay, what do you think?
Well, I will say you're leading the witness because the doc is called Jared Leto Cult Photos, okay? Yes, that is a cult. That is a cult. It's Jesus Christ.
What makes it cultish to you?
It's like he's gone to a costume party as Jesus. He has long hair, Jesus-esque facial hair. He has a long dress on, just like Jesus wears. It's white. I'm zooming in on his shoes. I think they might be Havanas, which isn't very like Jesus in that way. And he's holding up his hands like that statue in Brazil.
Ah.
And he has aviators on, which I just feel like Jesus might have worn.
Yeah, I feel like Jesus would have been into aviators. Apparently, there was just a white party, like a white-themed party, and so that's why they're all dressed in white. It's like a follower thing. But at the time, it was reported by KQED that the band's fans collectively refer to themselves as the Echelon, and they're a group that are overwhelmingly immersed not just in the music stuff, but more in love for the community and like all the vibes surrounding the band. And like many cults, the Echelon has this us versus them mentality. And there was this hashtag going viral that was hashtag you wouldn't understand. So it's like, we're in this club and you wouldn't understand it.
I worry about you doing too much research on this because you and I have said in the past that we are very susceptible to cults. We're 1 hour at all times from being indoctrinated into a cult because we like being part of something. We're followers. We'd love to go to an island and reject all the, constructs that we are currently in. I just feel like I'm 5 more minutes off being like, I'm in the Echelon.
I'm really subservient to authority. So I reckon if I was walking down the street and somebody stopped me, I would. I'd donate money to their cause, even if it was Jared Leto's cult. I'd say, here you go, here's all my money. But no, we would be in this cult. I would worship his face. I think that is godlike.
I think that has a lot to do with it. Is his brother there?
I think so, but it's mostly him sitting there and people listening to Jared speaking.
Okay.
As Christ.
Yes.
But it's not uncommon to see Leto described as a prophet or Jesus in fan discussion groups. The whole cult thing started as a joke because a journalist said they had a cult following, and then Jared Leto was like, we're a cult, we're a cult. I don't know, it's not that funny like all these years.
No, it's not that funny. And cults aren't that funny because Jonestown,
I know, that's always the answer when people try to joke about cults. In 2013, they had a competition where they asked fans to get tattoos, and the prize was a night sleeping in Jared Leto's bed.
That's crazy. Did someone win? Like, did it happen?
I think like 5 people won.
Okay.
I think it's weird. But basically they push like fan dedication to the extreme. In 2013 as well, Jared Leto shared a story on radio about a fan who sent him their severed ear.
Someone cut their ear off once and sent it to me. That was very bizarre.
No.
Yeah, it was very strange.
A whole ear?
The Van Gogh move, very strange. And The note just said, "Are you listening?"
He said he poked a hole in it and wore it as a necklace. And then he shared a photo of it on Instagram to prove it.
I don't like it.
I think that person needs their ear.
I think you need to send it back. I think you've got to, you know how when you send a parcel, you have a return, like, sender address? I think if I got that, I'd go, no, return to sender. Return to sender.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you think cancelled listeners want to send us their ears?
We don't need that. We'll take your money, but not your ears.
We don't accept ears. That's just one thing that isn't allowed. But the question is, if you're behaving like you're a leader of a cult, are you going to abuse your power? And are people going to trust you because they're part of your cult and then they can't speak up when you start doing naughty things? So we're going to discuss some allegations against Jared Leto. To our knowledge, none of these have been reported to police, which when you consider the power dynamics involved isn't necessarily surprising. But I do want to say that all of this has kind of taken place on the internet, and that's important.
Yeah.
In May 2018, Dylan Sprouse, who starred in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and Big Daddy, excellent film.
Wait, Big Daddy, was that the kid?
Yeah, it was him and his twin brother, Cole.
Why don't you turn that game off, pal?
I got 4 guys left.
Come on, let's study a little bit.
I don't want to study.
Oh, okay, now I know who that is.
They're like the Olsen twins. They both played the same roles when they
Very
were little.
cute kid.
So he tweeted, "Yo, Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is?"
Are they mates? Like, why did the Big Daddy kid call him out?
It would sound like they are not mates. It would seem he was saying, "You're creepy." And this was around the time of the Me Too stuff.
Devil's advocate, though, 18 to 25, creepy, yes, illegal, no, right?
That's what I think. It seems gross because Leto was in his mid-40s, but lots of men in their mid-40s.
It's not illegal to message a, 24-year-old model and, I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, that's his dating game, right?
It is. But then Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn tweeted in response, "He starts at 18 on the internet." And so obviously that was implying that in real life he goes for underage women. He has since deleted the tweet. But it wasn't the first time that Gunn has made comments about Leto. He said on a live stream in 2015 that Leto slept with underage girls. And in the same year, an article in the New York Post said that he approached girls and invited them to his shows.
You know how we've said on this podcast before that what goes around comes around needs to be a crime? As in there are just some ideas that need to be criminal or whatever. Like one charge that I think should exist in a courtroom is where there's smoke, there's fire.
Okay.
I just think you should have someone sitting there and they can go talk themselves out of this, talk themselves out of that. That witness doesn't want to be named. That person is anonymous. And at the end you just say, can I get you on any one thing? No. Do I think when there is smoke, there is fire? Yes. Guilty. That's how I'm feeling about him because Weinstein, Cosby, Louis C.K., there were rumors about these people for years and years and years. People just knew because of the sheer amount, even if they couldn't get them on like a very specific charge to begin with. That's what I'm seeing with Jared Leto.
If I was a lawyer, I would say, you can argue against all of this. We might not have tangible evidence. Why the rumors? Why the gossip?
Yeah.
Tell me why the gossip if it's not true, which is a really flawed way of thinking, but it is what I think.
Yeah.
In terms of weird sex stuff on the record, however, there is one story. In 2014, a former adult film star named Vicky Marie Taylor told Star magazine that when Jared Leto was dating Cameron Diaz, which was for 4 years between 1999 to 2003, Taylor and 3 other dancers were invited to a post-concert get-together. And she said that the other girls and I stripped down to bikinis. They were hanging out with Jared and the band backstage. And then Jared invited her to the tour bus where his brother Shannon was. And she gave Jared a lap dance. Then he asked her to do the same for his brother. And as she started to dance for Jared's brother, he grabbed her from the throat and said, "I can reach pure sexual enjoyment in 30 seconds just by looking into your eyes."
Oh, don't like that.
And it was a weird situation. And then he sat back down and watched this woman give his brother a lap dance. There are rumors about weird stuff with his brother. and just like you can only sleep with him if you do something for his brother. Like it's weird. And
weird.
Yeah, just the fact that this is somebody going on the record and saying that, I don't like it. I think it's weird.
Okay, accept that.
I will say stories like this and, for example, claims of sexual abuse, being a sexual predator, being a pedophile, all these things get levelled at Jared Leto all the time. They are for an actual court and they should be looked into. But transgressions that we can comment on, we're not so great.
No, I looked at our job description before we came in here and that is not in it.
You know what is really important for us to comment on?
Method acting?
Method acting.
Yes, it's my favourite topic in the whole world.
Yes, method acting is a cancelled favourite. We enjoy it because it's silly and embarrassing and it's almost exclusively men who do it. Robert Pattinson has a really good quote about method acting that I found. He says, I always say about people who do method acting, you only ever see people do it when they're playing assholes. You never see someone being lovely to everyone while they're really deep in character.
That is so true.
Let's go through Jared Leto's history as a method actor, starting with Requiem for a Dream in 2000. He lived on the streets of New York City with a group of heroin addicts to prepare. That doesn't seem safe or necessary.
No.
According to Time, he went as far as shooting up water while living with the group because they'd be uncomfortable if they're all shooting up and you're not. Jessie, can you imagine being a heroin addict and you're just trying to live your life and Jared Leto turns up and you're like, dude.
And Jared Leto thinks you don't notice that he's shooting up with water. It's like, I'm a heroin addict. I'm not an idiot. Like, I can see that you're just shooting up water. And also, you're not like me in that your mansion is 3 streets that way and you had a shower this morning. So stop trying to find solidarity with heroin addicts.
And it's like, you're not better than me by shooting up water. Do you know what I mean?
Didn't need to do that. Okay. Yep.
No. Like, leave the heroin addicts alone to do their thing.
Yeah. Leave them alone. They've got enough going on without Jared Leto and his pretentious earnestness. Like, just because they're heroin addicts doesn't mean that they don't find method acting annoying.
It also doesn't mean they're not busy.
Yeah, exactly.
They have stuff
We're not
to
here
do.
for your research.
No. Like, pay us for our time.
Yeah, so true.
Anyway, he starved himself for the role, and it sounds like he just straight up gave himself an eating disorder. So he said he was in a constant state of hunger, probably because he was starving, and he started fainting on set. And he damaged his bone marrow and his liver. And then he said when he finished the role, he had become addicted to losing weight. And after the film, he couldn't eat anymore. So he ended up living in a monastery in Portugal for several months in order to learn to eat again.
Like, the people in Portugal are, again, trying to go about their lives. And then you've got this man being like, I lived on the street with heroin addicts and I stopped eating. And it's like, you do you do what you need to do to, like, sort yourself out, but, like, stop using us.
He also didn't have sex for 2 months prior to shooting. I don't see how that's related. I don't really
And I
the
love
plot
how
of the
he's like,
movie.
I didn't have sex for 2 months. It's like
okay, someone
join
just
the
do that
club,
without
mate.
trying.
Like,
and that was when he was going out with Cameron Diaz. So maybe she was like, come on, mate, can we? And he's like, no, I'm shooting up water.
I'm sure she
not
wasn't. He was probably coming back from pretending to be a heroin addict and shooting up water and just not wearing deodorant. And she was like, by the way, don't feel like having sex with you either.
You're very annoying. Okay, the next one was Chapter 27. This was a 2007 film and it was about Mark David Chapman, the Beatles fan who murdered John Lennon outside his New York City apartment.
I gave a great deal of myself to what John Lennon had said and sung about and told us all to do. His music and his lyrics provided me with everything I needed.
And to prepare for the role, Jared Leto gained a lot of weight by consuming microwaved pints of ice cream mixed with soy sauce and olive oil. Sounds gross. Jessie, he gave himself gout.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And he ended up in a wheelchair.
Jesus.
Not worth it, mate. My overwhelming thought when I read this was, I've never heard of that movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean, Claire, because I know we're going to get to it. But Hollywood's reaction to Jared Leto method acting in a superhero film is one of the highlights of my life. And I just keep thinking, whenever we are feeling lacking in confidence, we need to say to ourselves, have the confidence of Jared Leto method acting in a superhero film where they want to cut his character later because it's so bad. Have that confidence.
You don't give yourself gout for a movie no one's going to watch. Then there was Dallas Buyers Club. So it was 2013. That is an excellent film. I will enter that into the courtroom. Excellent, excellent film. He was excellent.
Relax. I don't bite. I guess you're handsome in a Texas hick white trash dumb kind of way.
Matthew McConaughey has said he didn't meet Jared Leto until the filming wrapped because he didn't drop his role in between takes. So he didn't introduce himself as Jared because he was playing his character. Jared Leto shaved his eyebrows, waxed his entire body, lost a whole lot of weight again. But the weird thing is, this has been mentioned once, but I just think it's more important than anyone gives it credit for. He stole things from Matthew McConaughey. He became like a pickpocket. And I just find that really annoying. He just stole things from his pockets.
Like what?
Like his lighter. And
that's so annoying because you'd feel like you were losing it.
Mm-hmm.
If you put something in your pocket as Matthew McConaughey, like your ID, and then you're like, where did it go? And Jared Leto's got no eyebrows and no body hair in the background. And I imagine him doing like a weird little weedy dance, being like, yes, I've got it. And it's like, sir, we have not been introduced. And we've been working on this film for 3 months.
It's just really weird, and I just think it makes it weirder that he's so pretty.
Me too. Mate, we all think that makes it weirder.
Now, Suicide Squad in 2016. This was when he really went full method and did weird things. He sent bizarre gifts to his co-stars. He sent Will Smith a box of bullets, Viola Davis a dead pig, Margot Robbie a live black rat. The weird thing is he personally said that he sent the cast used condoms and anal beads, but then he denied it.
But then he also said, with the anal beads, I was just joking. And I was like, that's the excuse I'd use at work, right? We're at work, we're hanging out with producer Rose, and I go, Claire, you know what? It's a Friday. Let's have some fun. I'm sending producer Rose some anal beads. And then producer Rose goes, I didn't like them. I didn't ask for them. I don't know where to put them. And I say to Rose, I was just joking, learn to take a joke. Like, it just seems like a very what you do when you pull a prank that goes wrong.
And he says his thing is, I was playing the Joker.
I mean, I did a lot of things to create a dynamic, to create an element of surprise, of spontaneity.
That's surprise.
And to really break down any kind of walls that may be there. I mean, the Joker is somebody who doesn't really respect things like personal space or boundaries.
And this is the thing, though. The Joker in that film, I haven't seen that film, which says a lot. Because I've seen most films. I haven't seen that because I have no interest. Apparently, it's not a serious film.
No.
At all. And that's why people are embarrassed.
His role is minimal.
Is minimal, and it's a superhero film. And I kept thinking, imagine if Adam Sandler was a method actor. Imagine if Mariah Carey in Glitter went, I'm going to be a method actor. Like, this is so embarrassing because it's not serious enough for you to go full method acting. And then at the end, after they filmed, apparently they were very close to cutting his character because it was so bad. And that's what everyone says, is that your performance does not justify the method acting.
They probably felt really bad cutting it because they're like, oh, Jesus.
Have you heard about the crutches incident?
Oh, I'm getting to that. Don't you worry. But before we get there, I just will say, how is making other people uncomfortable helpful in making you better at acting?
I feel like it's central to white men making art. Van Gogh chopping off his ear, Like, they've just got to make life hard for the people around them. I feel like female artists go and sit in their room and write their book, and male artists abuse everyone. And they're like, well, that's what you need to be an artist. And it's like, you're not that good, Jared. You're not good enough to justify your behaviour.
Finally, Morbius is the recent one. The latest controversy around Jared Leto's method acting is around the fact that the director of Morbius has confirmed that Jared Leto refused to break character even to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So his character in this, again, superhero movie, has chronic pain, which meant that Jared Leto was like, well, he's got to use crutches when he's not acting. But then every time he needed to go to the bathroom, he used crutches, and it took so long that a deal was made with him where they were like, can you at least use a wheelchair? So then somebody on set had to navigate a wheelchair for Jared Leto, an able-bodied man, to go to the bathroom.
That's the part I wrote down, is that it was someone's job. In 2021, it was some poor soul's job to wheel Jared Leto with a full bladder to a urinal when he could walk. And that is the most absurd thing I have ever heard in my entire life. Imagine watching as for 45 minutes he fake hobbles to the toilet.
I bet his hobble is inconsistent too.
I know. Well, given his acting credentials, which everyone says are questionable, I would method act a punch in his face and be like, sorry, my character would punch you because you're being a dickhead right now.
A last entry to the Cancelled Courtroom is this. The man has no acting experience. When he was like, I want to be an actor, he went to LA and tried to do a 12-week course, but he didn't attend. And I guess it's annoying because it's like, so you're taking your method acting so seriously. Why don't you go do a class?
And that's the thing, is he never learned what method acting was, hence why he's hobbling to the toilet in between scenes. It's like, you never did the theory, sweetheart. Claire, do you have a charge for Jared Leto?
I'm going to start with just more of an instruction from the court. This is not a charge. This is purely an instruction. Just, you know how a court might quickly be like,
FYI.
If there's a drunk driver, it's like, just by the way, you're never to drive again.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This is an instruction.
Okay.
Give that man back his ear. Give it back. Find out who it belongs to.
Yeah.
Maybe they can sew it back on.
Yeah.
Or at least it should be in that man's possession.
It should be in his possession. It should be by his sink in his bathroom.
Yeah.
If he, wants to wake up and put an earring on it. It doesn't matter if it's attached to his face, but, you get to choose what to do with your ear.
Jared Leto doesn't appreciate it enough. He will have forgotten about it, and it's somebody's ear. You've only got two. Anyway, my charge, however, is having a cult, even ironically, and also being creepy towards women.
Great point.
My sentence is, I need him to method act being normal. Just method act. Having a band that isn't a cult. Having interactions with women that aren't creepy. Filming a movie without getting gout. Do you know what I mean?
And method act 3 meals a day. You know what I mean? Just eating and drinking 2 liters of water. Method act that.
Exactly. I think he's just got a method act being a normal Joe from somewhere in America that isn't where Jared Leto lives.
And leave heroin addicts alone.
Yes, that's important too. Jessie, what's your charge?
My charge, I'm glad that you had those other ones, because my charge is, as we similarly did for Jim Carrey, my charge is method acting. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now the sentence. This has never before been done in a cancelled courtroom. This is called continuity. And it involves Jim Carrey.
Okay.
It's very complicated.
Oh, no.
I need Jared Leto and Jim Carrey to be cast in a film together. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There is no crew. No one's going to watch it. But I'm going to write the script.
Yep.
And the title of the film is Two Annoying Men. And they're going to method act annoying men to each other for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Jim Carrey can only yell. And Jared Leto's character can only say, speak up. And Jared Leto's character consistently drops things, smashes them on the floor. That's part of his character. Jim Carrey's character is always choking on his own spit, for example. And what they have to do is, in order to get into character for the script, they must be annoying, they share a trailer, and they can experience each other's method acting once and for all. They will both be cut from the film in that there is no camera, no one cares. This is just an experiment for learning.
It is a great sentence that we have seen in the Cancelled Courtroom, which is a taste of your own medicine. Because there's no evidence that Jim Carrey allows other people to method act in his presence. And there's also no evidence that Jared Leto lets other people method act in his presence. So I want to know, how do they go with other people's method acting?
They just assume that they're the only method actor in the room. And to that I say, Jared meet Jim, Jim meet Jared.
I think it turns into Dumb and Dumber and they just keep slapping each other across the head because they're so mad.
Maybe I shall cast Jared Leto, you are Lloyd Christmas. Method act that.
Oh, Jessie, that is all we have time for on Cancelled today, which I think is for the best because we've gotten a little bit silly. If you like Cancelled, you can leave us a review and give us 5 stars because that is lovely and it helps people find us. And we really love finding our people because we feel like we've done that. We get messages, we get people really reaching out to us that we go, you're one of us, you understand, you are rationally annoyed by method acting.
Yeah.
Thank God. If you're a serious actor, you're going to hate this show.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Cancelled. Our producer is Rose Kerr and the head of podcasts at Mamamia is Eliza Ratliff. And we will be back next week with a new method actor. No, not really. I think that's all the method actors done.
I think so. Bye.
Bye.
If you believe in women's media, if you believe in a purpose-driven media company like Mamamia, whose core purpose is to make the world a better place for women and girls, please consider subscribing to Mamamia. A portion of our profits goes to educating girls in some of the most vulnerable communities in the world for our charity partners. It only costs $5.75 a month, which is less than a large coffee or a small coffee if you get oat milk or any other milk. There's a link in the show notes.